Hey, it's Jag. Welcome to part 5 of the Trinity Amps Triwatt Build. Today I finished putting the outboard wires on the turret board and get it ready to install in the chassis. We're on the home stretch soon. Hey, I've been working some numbers. Oh, what now? Elvis was 42 in 1977 when he faked his death. That means this year he'd be 86 and it's 2021. You know what that means. The aliens brought us turkey burger? Trinity Amps provides excellent support on their website. You can find schematics and layout diagrams of all of the kits that they sell, and these are very helpful when you're building your kit. In addition to that, they also have a live support forum where people share information on their builds. They answer questions if you have issues, or you can answer questions. Maybe somebody's having a problem and you've dealt with it and you have a solution for that. So Trinity Amp's site is very good for that. So when you go to their site and you are looking at the kit, in this case we're looking at the Trinity Triwatt kit, when you scroll down near the bottom, you will see several links. Link to the Triwatt information, which is the page we're on right now. The Trinity Triwatt forum, where you can chat with other people about your build. Also, you have the support link. You can scroll down to your amp kit and you can see the online resources that are there. In this case, the schematic is available, and as well the layout diagram. And you can download these to your computer. I've zoomed in, and we're going to look at the offboard wires. I counted this ahead of time, several times. There are 42 wires that go offboard, not counting 2 coaxial cables that come in from the front control panel, which I will wire when we're doing the wiring on the front panel controls. I'll just run through this very quick. So as I said, there are 42 wires that go off the turret board. They are color-coded on the layout as green, orange, yellow, blue, gray, red, and brown. So the kit came with 5 colors. I'm going to use some of my own wire. I have some red and black stranded wire. It's not solid core wire like comes with the kit, but it should work just fine. It comes with 5 colors: green, orange, yellow, blue, and white. So obviously I will use green for green. For these gray wires, I'm going to substitute and use the white for that. Down here we have one brown wire that comes off the board. I'm going to use my black stranded for that. I will also use my red stranded for all these red wires. All the other colors come with the kit. There are in total 4 green wires that go off board, 9 orange wires, 5 yellow wires, 8 blue wires, 7 gray wires, which I'm substituting white for that, 8 red wires, and 1 brown wire, which I'll be substituting black for. So we'll just run through this really quick. 42 wires. We have 1 green going off here. We have a gray and a gray. Those both go off. Here is the coax wire coming in from one of the volume controls. We have a green wire going off here. These 2 black wires here are only crossing the board. They don't come off the board or go to the board, so we don't do anything about those. Here's a gray wire coming off, another gray wire coming off, and another gray wire. Here's the second coax cable, and that goes off to one of the front panel controls as well. Here's another black wire going across the board. Here's a green wire going off board, another gray wire or white, red wire going off board, another green wire going off board, red going off board here, red going off board here, And also another red wire goes down here. We have a red wire going off the board here. Here's that brown/black wire. We've got a red wire going here and an orange wire going off this turret. Blue wire going out here. Another red wire going out here. Another blue going out here. We've got a white. It's going to go down from here. Got a yellow wire going off board. Orange wire. Yellow wire. Orange wire. A red wire. Yellow wire. Blue. Yellow. Blue. Orange. Yellow. Orange. Orange. Another orange. Blue. Blue. Another 2 orange wires. And finally 2 blue wires. So that's all the wires going off board. The easiest way to find all the wires that go off the board, rather than trying to look at them where they originate and count them and keep track of them there, it's easiest to just go around the perimeter of the board, and as you cross one of those wires, I'm using my mouse as a marker for that, you count the wire as you cross it. So that way you can find all the wires that come off, what colors they are, and where they're going to. And the reason we do that is because it can get a little bit confusing. If you look down here, there's quite a jumble of wires that comes off of the board. We got a brown one going here, a red and an orange coming off the same turret. We've got a white crossing underneath a blue. These are not connected. And it's just easiest to go around the perimeter to see what wires you need. So we'll start from the top here. I've already broken down how many of each color and said there were 42. We'll just go around this and count them to make sure we have that right. I'm not going to list the colors again. If I come up with 42 once I go all the way around here, I will assume I've got the color coding correct. So going from the top left, we'll go around in a clockwise direction and just count the wires as they come off the board. So we have 1, 2, 3, not counting the coax, 4, another coax, 5, 6, 7, another coax, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, another coax, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, another coax, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. So 42 wires going off the board. We're not counting the 2 coax wires that come in and connect from the front panel into the board. And we're also not counting the coax wires, there are 3 of them, that go across the board but don't actually connect to the board. So let's go back over to the bench and we'll start cutting wire and soldering these on. As you can see, I put the chassis back up on the bench and I put the turret board, just set it on top of the standoffs where it will live once we assemble the amplifier. And I've gone through and measured out the wires that I need to connect and where they need to connect from on the turret board and what they need to run to get a rough idea of the lengths of wires I needed to cut and what colors. As you can see, I've already pre-cut all of the wires. I said there were 42 off-board wires, and that's true, but some of them are not separate wires. A wire coming from the power transformer that goes to this turret. We have another one coming from the power transformer that goes to this turret. We have a red wire from the output transformer that goes to this turret. So I didn't have to cut wires for those ones. I have pre-cut all the other ones. So the breakdown of the wires that I did cut, for green, there was a total of 4 wires that we needed. One, I cut it about 3 inches, and 3 at 5 inches, 7 white wires. If you recall, I'm using white in place of gray on the color code on the layout. And the breakdown of that was 1 6-inch, 2 9-inch lengths, and 4 10-inch lengths of the white wire. For the red wire, there was not any red or brown wire supplied with the kit separate. There is some red and black wire for the heater, the filaments, but I didn't want to take a chance on cutting that and not having enough for the heaters, so I used some stranded red wire that I had and a piece of stranded black wire in place of the brown. So for the red wire, there was a total of 8 red wires needed, 2 4-inch lengths, 2 5-inch lengths, 1 9-inch length. So that's 5 wires total. The other 3 wires are 1 coming from the output transformer and 2 coming from the power transformer. So I didn't need to cut separate lengths for that. There was 1 black wire substituting for brown on the layout sheet. I cut that at 5 inches. The blue wires, there were 8 blue wires. They all looked like they would approximately be about the same length to me, so I just sort of traced out what looked like the longest one, and that came to 3.5 inches. So I cut 3 blue wires at 3.5 inches. For yellow, there was a total of 5 yellow wires needed. I had 3 at 3.5 inches, 1 at 5.5 inches, and 1 at 6.5 inches. Then the orange wires, which I believe that was our highest count. Yes, there were 9 orange wires needed. And that was a pretty interesting split up. There's 1 at 3 inches, 1 at 3.5 inches, 2 at 4 inches, 2 at 4.5 inches, 1 at 5 inches, 1 at 5.5 inches, and 1 at 7.5 inches. So I've at this point I've cut all of those. I've stripped the ends of some of them, getting them ready to solder on the board. I'll strip the rest of those, and then I'm going to do a time lapse, just go really quick through and solder them all. We have a choice where we run these off-board wires from the turret board. Let me just get the chassis out of my way here. The layout shows the wires going off turrets from the top, going down and around, and then over to whatever they're mounting to on the chassis. We don't have to run all these wires from the top of the turret. Some of these turrets get pretty crowded with leads already. For example, over here, where the diodes are for the rectifier. I'll hold this up here, see if you can see that. We've got 3 going into this turret here, for example. That's pretty crowded, and we do have another wire, or I think maybe even 2, that have to come from that same connection and go off board. And it would be difficult to fit those in there. So even though the layout shows that the wires are coming in from the top of the turret, and you can do it that way, there's nothing that says you cannot wire those in underneath on the bottom of the turret board, or even in some cases you can loop the wire around a turret if there's not enough room to get it in the turret. I like the clean look of running all the off-board wires under the turret board, from under the turret board. It makes it a little more difficult in terms of maintenance if for some reason you have to change out one of those wires. The most obvious reason that would happen is if you put it in the wrong turret, and then we didn't realize it until we were doing our final run through before power up, and we realized, oh, we've run a wire to the wrong turret, and then we would have to take the whole thing out flip it one way or the other, trying not to disturb the other wires, and then, kind of try and solder that at that time. I'm confident enough in my own abilities to troubleshoot and look at things that before I get ready for final assembly, final installation of this turret board into the chassis, I will have checked all of the components, the wiring, the connections, and the wires coming off the bottom. It's a different story, of course, with the components. We may modify this. We may want to change the tonality. We may want to do things to change the gain structure. That would all be done by changing the components mounted on the top. So this makes sense. It makes it very easy to maintain. Anything that we're going to probably have to change down the road, either because of failure or, again, like I say, because we want to modify it, those will be things that are mounted on the top of the turret board, and it will be easy to get at them and change those in and out. The wires going underneath, we probably are never going to have to touch again. So I'm going to run all of the off-board wires from the bottoms of the turrets. It can make it a little bit confusing, although when you've done this a few times, you get used to it, because you will be, of course, working on the turret board, soldering things upside down. So, for example, this ground wire that goes from this turret off to the grounding lug, that's actually this turret over here. So as long as you don't get confused as to where you're working, you won't have any problems. So again, using this as the example, that's a ground wire. It goes from this turret to this ground lug. If you turn this over, that's this turret right here. So again, flipping it back here, I know it's that one. Likewise, the next two are going to chassis controls. That's this one and this one. Of course, we're looking upside down, so that's this one, and so on. There are a lot of things that you want to double check when you're done, but we have the luxury of that. We have the turret board out. We can compare it to the layout. We can compare all of the wires and everything. We can do that as many times as we want to make sure we've done that right. So stay tuned. Here comes the time lapse of the soldering of this, and then we'll get back and I'll summarize what I've done.
Yeah.
Okay, well that went pretty well and pretty easy. I may have cut some of the wires a little bit long. Not too sure. I'd rather be longer than I need than too short though. So I'll just summarize this really quick. I have checked out all the wires on the board a couple of times myself already, so I know they are correct. So I won't be turning the board over and going, this one's here, this one's there, this one's here. I'll just show you the wires coming off and which turret they're coming from. Looking down here at the turret board, we have a ground that goes from this turret and runs out here. We have two white wires, one from each of these turrets going out here. We have another green wire at ground going from this turret. It goes out here. We have a white going from here out and a white going from here out. We also have a white going from this turret out. We have another ground green wire going out from this turret. From this turret we have another white one. We have a red one going off here. Another ground off these two capacitors. We have one coming from this turret going out here. I haven't wired the one to this terminal here because it goes back to the transformer. So that'll be a transformer wire. An orange and a red coming off of this turret. We have a blue one off of each of these turrets. They're coming out here. White one from here going down. There is also another one that comes from the power transformer, and it will also go to here where this one blue one terminates. Here there's a red wire coming from the output transformer going to this end of the power resistor. And then we get to the all the ones going mostly off to the tube sockets. Oh, this orange one goes to a tube socket. We have a yellow and an orange. They're coming from here and here. The yellow is here and the orange is here. We have another yellow and an orange. Yellow here and orange here coming off. That's these two. Then we have a red coming out of here. A yellow. We have that blue coming out of here, nothing on that turret. We have a yellow coming out of this turret, a blue. Then here we have an orange coming from this junction right here and coming out right there. We have a yellow coming off here. Then there's nothing on here. And we have an orange coming out this one. Again, nothing. An orange one off of here. We have another orange one coming right here. Then we have two blue ones here and here. Then we have two orange ones. An orange from here coming out here, an orange here coming out here. And then finally we have a blue here and a blue here. So as I said, I've checked all of this out and several times, and it is all correct coming off the right turrets. I also rechecked all the connections on the turret board itself. So this turret board is done and ready to be installed. So thanks for watching today. As always, like and subscribe. Check out my band One Soul Thrust. The links are down below. Please consider supporting One Soul Thrust on Patreon. If you liked this video, found it helpful, or even just entertaining or enjoyable, please give me a thumbs up. See you guys next time.